All right, what's going on, gentlemen? Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. Super excited for this one because this is a lot about mindset, discipline, all that kind of stuff. The really important stuff that goes a level higher than the day-to-day nitty-gritty stuff. Because these are skills, discipline, especially, is a skill not only from that you can learn from fitness, but you can also take into business as well, right? Because we need to show up every single day, regardless of how we feel. So before we really get into anything, if you're new to the group, welcome aboard. You don't know who I am. My name is Miles Wold, and I own and operate the Winners Mindset Fitness Academy. It is a specific academy for contractors, right? Men, women, contractors who all want to get in the best shape of their life and want to be better leaders in the business and family end of things. Now, that's kind of about a little bit of what I do, brief overview. And one of the biggest things is that we talk about inside is discipline and delaying gratification. Now, I'll probably shoot another video on delaying gratification, but let's start with discipline. And I put together some notes here. So if you see me looking down at my paper, that's what I'm doing. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to open up the whiteboard here. And we're going to do some whiteboard work because I'm a visual kind of learner. So I kind of like to see what's going on and how it resonates with you, right? So start off with this here. Build discipline, need lose 30 pounds in 90 days. That's typically the baseline for a lot of guys and gals here. So this is what we're going to be working on. And really at a high level, where we want to start off here is mindset. And a lot of people talk about mindset, and it can be certainly woo-woo, guru, a little bit esoteric, which is fine. Like, it has its time and place for that. However, I like to do applicable conversations around mindset, right? We don't need to be talking about, bringing out your crystals and your chakras and mantras and all that kind of stuff. Like, affirmations certainly do work. Like, if you're walking around with a lot of head trash, beating yourself up all the time, you can really be self-sabotaging your progress in all areas of life, right? So at a fundamental level, you have to believe in yourself, right? You have to believe in yourself, right? Self-belief that you can make a change and have a different outcome in life. Now, sometimes it's easier said than done. And maybe you've heard of the sentence, or the phrase rather, fake it till you make it. Initially, this can work, especially if you are punching above your waist, right? If you are getting out of your comfort zone, you are trying something new, you are doing something that you've never done before. You can fake it till you make it to have that initial confidence. However, that cannot be the long-term solution. At a certain level, your competence must meet its level of confidence. And from there, you actually have the skill sets to perform, right? And that self-belief gets ingrained. And then it becomes true. It doesn't become fake till you make it anymore. It simply becomes true. That is your new reality. So initially here, self-belief that you can make a change and have a different outcome in life. Then adding a layer to this with mindset is making the commitment to change. And both go hand in hand, right? Like, typically, if you believe in yourself that you can make a change, you are also committing to that change at the same time, right? It is very difficult to commit to a change if you don't believe in yourself. However, going back to fake it till you make it, that can be that initial push that you need, right? So let's give an example of fitness, right? Let's say you are 30, 50, 60 pounds overweight. Maybe that is your identity. And that is the identity you hold and have held for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, especially if you've transitioned from out of the field into the office, more into a sedentary position, working on sales, working on marketing, working on estimates and quotes and running the crews and design work. That can be your identity because you're not in the field anymore. That is so far removed and in the past from your current reality. It's just not who you are anymore. And that's okay, right? So really accept who you are today. Accept who you are today, but also be aware that doesn't have to be what you settle for, who you settle for. We can always be better. We can always choose to redesign our life at any point in time. So now we've got the self-belief, we've got the commitment to make a change. And then we're going to look at two different areas here. So we're going to look at how might life be different now with that extra weight coming off. Get visual and detailed. Make it unique to you. Make it unique to you. Really visualize how life might be different with that extra weight coming off. And from there, what would that do for you personally? Get down to the individual level. Get down to the individual level. And these are only, like, we can ask the questions. However, these are answers only you can answer because they are unique to you. So each and every one of you guys watching this video, it's going to be different. So I really encourage you to write these down, write these questions down, and spend some time to visualize how life might be different now with having that extra weight coming off, having some kind of plan in place. Really get visual, really get detailed, really make it unique to you. And then on the flip side of that, because humans often don't make a change, like it's really nice and pleasant and feels good to really visualize how life might be different. We're setting up that kind of dream state. Maybe for those who have watched or listened to Tony Robbins, this is very similar to this. We're setting up a dream state, and it can be very easy and pleasant to talk about all that. However, if there's a heaven, then there has to be a hell. If there's good, then there has to be evil. There are two sides to the same coin. So on the flip side of this, what's going to happen? Nothing changes. Things eventually get worse, right? So consequences of inaction, because choosing not to act on your health is still a choice. And there are consequences to those choices for every choice that we make. And every day we have hundreds and thousands of choices that we do either consciously or unconsciously. And there are multiple realities of which can happen based on the choices and consequences of those actions. So really go deep. What's going to happen if nothing changes and potentially things get worse? And you might be thinking, oh, well, that's not going to happen to me. Failure isn't an option. Might not be, but failure is a reality. Might not be an option, but it is a reality. People fail in business all the time. People fail in fitness all the time. People fail in general. That's part of being human. That's part of being mortal. That is the natural way of being. So what's going to happen? Really ask yourself at a deep level, what's going to happen if nothing changes? Things potentially get worse, because that is the reality if nothing does change. So again, go deep. Ask yourself those kind of questions. So once we get our mindset down, that really primes us to be in a position to change and actually make a difference. So now we go to another layer deeper. Scheduling our time better, right? Time for workouts, time for meals, time for business, time for family. So for a lot of people, it's early in the morning. Depending on your schedule. I am extremely biased to getting a workout done first thing in the morning because it primes us for the day, sets us and puts ourselves in the best position possible, mentally and physically. We've done the hardest thing for ourselves, and it makes it easier to take on the stresses and responsibilities of the coming day. So that's why typically early in the morning, 5, 6 a.m., maybe 7 for some people. Maybe I know some of my clients, they take care of their kids first thing in the morning, wake them up, get them fed, ready for work, and then maybe drop them off at school. So in that time between dropping them off at school, for those kind of going to the gym, do their workout, move on with the rest of their day for work. For those kind of working out at home, this is a good opportunity to get this done either before everyone wakes up or after the kids are out of the house, if you do have some young kids, and then getting your workout done from there, and then working in the office stuff, all that kind of stuff, working from home, right? If you're in that kind of position. But typically for 95% of the clients, I myself included, getting it done first thing in the morning, because if I'm guilty of this as well, like I'll say, yeah, I'll do it in the afternoon, right? I got a busy morning, I'll do it in the afternoon. Next thing you know, things pop up throughout the day that demand your time and attention. It's 5, 6 o'clock at night. You're about to sit down for dinner. You probably don't want to do a workout after that. You want to sit down, spend time with the family, and then the whole day is gone. So again, really carve some time. I'm biased, first thing in the morning, set yourself up for the day, and you'll be able to take on everything in the day there. Excuse me. Time for meals. So typically, for a lot of guys, it's 3 meals, 3 to 4 meals, maybe plus protein shake or so. Try and space these out, because meal timing, in terms of losing those 30 pounds, isn't terribly important. However, it is important for regulating your hunger. So a lot of guys, they, either wake up late, before they really first come into the academy. That's why we improve all of that when they come in, is wake up late, not getting a morning workout in, skip breakfast, just have lunch, if anything. Sometimes you might not even have anything. And then have the bulk of the food around dinner, which often leads to overeating because you've pushed all your hunger into dinner, overeating and snacking, and then you go to bed with a full stomach, sleep gets disturbed, and then we restart the cycle all over again. So when we have 3, 4 meals, let's just say 3 for the sake of conversation, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, regulated meals, we're able to regulate our hunger better, especially if we have a big breakfast, medium-sized lunch, and small dinner, so that we have the bulk of our calories in the morning to front load our day and have the energy to take on whatever comes our way, right? So in that sense, meal timing is important. In terms of losing the weight that you want, you can eat one meal a day. And if it works for you and you enjoy that, you can lose the weight that you want. However, if you're doing one meal a day and you're overeating your calories in the evening, this is where spreading those calories out throughout the day can really improve your hunger and really make a difference. So that's about it for time for meals. Now, time for business, this is where the bulk of your day is going to happen, right? So let's say, you get your workout in 5, 6 a.m., 7, 8 a.m., you start your work day, you don't get home until 5, 6 o'clock. That's typically what the usual day looks like, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So for a lot of people, that's what it is, right? And I don't really, being a business coach isn't what I do. I do sprinkle some business golden nuggets if it's appropriate, but it's not what I do. But having some scheduled times, using some calendar systems, if for in meetings, in-person meetings or Zoom calls and all that kind of stuff, having something where you can use a calendar software rather, or like a pen and paper to have dedicated time so you can see your schedule. So really scheduling your time. If you don't have a scheduling system, map that out. Really sit down for the week. Where is my time going? Where does my time need to go? Where can I make time for my workouts? Where can I set myself up in the best position possible, get to where I want to be, to get to who I want to become? Going back to this, who do I want to become? What do I need to do to get there? What's going to happen if I don't? It's time for family. Evening, rest of the night. So then number 3 here. So structure for workouts and meals. So workouts, this is typically anywhere between, for a lot of guys, 3-4 times a week, 30, maybe 60 minutes at most. Get in, and get out, right? And this can be done, doesn't really matter to me. This can be done at home or in the gym. There's plans for both and setting up to make it work for the client. But at least this way, you're making progress. You're dedicating enough time to see results with the least amount of effort, and you're moving the needle forward. And then structure for meals. Those can be like the calories, meals themselves with cookbook. Typically high protein. Foods you can enjoy. Macros, all that kind of stuff. And once you have this in place, you have clarity. You have clarity because you don't have to think about what you're going to do. You don't have to think about what you're going to eat. Everything becomes second nature. And you have clarity in your life in a world that is often made more difficult than what it needs to be. Fitness is often made more difficult than what it needs to be. It's really simple when you really break it down like this. But at a high level, let's go over this again. Like at a high level, it starts with mindset. It starts with the self-belief that you can make a change, have a different outcome in life, and then committing to that change, right? How might life be different now with that extra weight coming off? Really get detailed, get visual, make it unique to you. What would that do for you personally? And then on the flip side of that, what's going to happen if nothing changes and things potentially get worse? Because that is a reality. Number two, scheduling our time better. Scheduling your time better, right? Maybe you need a calendar scheduling system. Maybe you need a pen and paper. Maybe you need something more intricate and detailed for you and your employees in the field. Maybe you need to hire some new employees, or at least raise them up. Maybe like team leaders need to be raised to project managers and estimators so you can buy back your time. Maybe you need to hire VAs to take care of the boring work that happens every single day and aren't really big money generating activities that eat up your time that you can easily hand off to someone else. And from there, you can make time for your workouts. You can make time to eat better. You can make time for your family. And then number three, having structure for your workouts in meals, whether this is 3-4 times a week, 30 to 60 minutes at most, either in the gym or at home, doesn't matter. And then from there, meals, your calories, the high protein meals, foods you enjoy, macros, plans to do it on the weekend. So all of this is totally possible. And from there, you build up that discipline because it becomes like clockwork. You don't have to think about it. All you have to do is show up, get it done, put in the action, wait 8, 12, 16 weeks, and then you're good to go. You've got those habits solidified and in place, and you just keep moving forward. And if anything, it's better to have this kind of plan in place when life does get busy, so that when life cools off, you've got the plan in place to stick with it. A lot of people, what happen is, maybe not as busy during the winter, so they're stick with it for maybe 2, 3, 4 months, whatever. Things get busy in the summer, it all goes to shit. And then every year we're restarting over and over and over and over again, never really getting anywhere. Like in business, you never truly win. It's an infinite game because there's always a higher level. There's always someone doing better than you. Fitness, it's the same thing. It always takes consistent work. It always takes consistent effort. There's always someone doing better than you, and that's totally okay. However, you only lose when you quit. So if you're thinking of quitting, keep going. Just show up for one more day. So hopefully you guys find this helpful. Really went into good detail. If you have any questions, drop that in the comments. And if you've been tuning in live, comment #live. If you're tuning in, watching the replay, comment #replay. That's about all I have for today. Really big, juicy one. Lots of good mindset stuff. Really good way on how we break it down for my clients, how we make it for them, make it work for them. So if you have any questions about all this, let me know. Otherwise, that's going to be it for today. Cheers.